Another game, another L. We're kind of used to this at this point of the season for the Colts. But welcome back to the Blue Stable. And this is yours truly, Culture Shock. And I couldn't do this alone. I got my guy Landon with me. How are we doing today?
Well, hey, top five pick. I'm doing all right, so can't complain
Yeah,
too
man.
much. Uh, Holiday season was good. Just making it right now. trying
Yeah,
to trying to recover.
yeah, just hanging on. The top five pick is a bittersweet feeling. We didn't have a top five pick in a long time, especially with the situation we got currently going on right now with this quarterback carousel. It looks like our dreams are probably going to be coming true with the season winding down and us getting closer to that top pick, well, even closer to the higher pick. Getting the quarterback of our dreams potentially, man. So I mean, I'm feeling good right now. Every week we move forward, we give our thoughts on the game and our previews. And, we always come with the same answer. We just want the Colts to just end the season. We're not even having high hopes about them winning. We know they're going to give it their all, but we're going to go ahead and deep dive into this game. I know you have your thoughts about this game for sure. We're going to start off with the offensive side. Let me know your thoughts. How did you feel about, with the whole Nick Foles situation? This was his first game starting as the quarterback. How did you feel about Nick Foles and this offense about against the Chargers?
Uh, well, it pretty much went exactly how I thought it was going to go, which was not good because once again, on short notice, they're bringing in a guy that hasn't taken first team reps since training camp. Has no chemistry with these guys. They have guys that are calling plays that have never called plays, that are, you know, they're running basically to me what looks like a high school offense. And it's just, I mean, it's not going to be successful at the NFL level. And then you kind of combine both of those factors with the offensive line play, the way the offensive line is played. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's just a complete disaster. The offense all season has been a disaster. Like regardless of who the quarterback is, it's been a mess. And you know, this is almost like a blessing in disguise to an extent because whenever they made the move to bench Matt Ryan the first time, the Colts were 3-3-1. Um, they would have possibly, with the way the Titans have fallen off, with Jacksonville's record, they might have sneaked out some of those wins, with Matt Ryan there. I mean, I don't know if they would have or not, but he certainly gives you the best chance of all three of the quarterbacks right now. It looks like to win because he's the one that has, he's been taking all the first team reps. So, at least you would have that. And um, I don't know if we would be really under any, if they were to say they were to win the division, say they were going to sneak out the division, bid, 8-9 record or whatever, or 7-9, or who knows how it's going to go. But say they were to sneak out the division, is there really any thought that this team would be competitive in the postseason? It was going to be another one and done season. So at least now you can look towards the future with possibly being able to draft another, a quarterback early. Like I pray they draft a quarterback early. And then on top of that, it's just we'll see what happens as far as rebuilding the roster. But yeah, it was going to be bad. It ended up being bad. It's been bad all season. So I don't really know why there would be any you know, difference whenever you're bringing in a quarterback that, like I said, he hasn't thrown to these guys. He hasn't played with any of these guys. There's no chemistry, and you saw it multiple times last night. On a lot of these throws that, outside of Jelani Woods, who he has kind of worked with a little bit there, taking backup snaps. That outside of Jelani Woods, there's no chemistry there, and it really showed. And it's just another ugly performance.
Yeah, it definitely was an ugly performance, and it shows 17 for 29, no touchdowns, three interceptions for Nick Foles. There was at some point fans was talking about Sam Ellinger, but I did have a tweet and I said it's kind of funny. The Colts have three quarterbacks that play the same, um, and it is hilarious. It's just one is younger and a little bit more mobile, but he still had the same tendencies as the other two guys. But yeah, for Matt Ryan, I agree. I definitely think he gives us the best chance to win a game, even though he still has his tendencies to throw an interception or not make that read. but he still is, that veteran quarterback that you would want out of the situation you currently have. He would probably be the best option. I do agree. There was a lot of times when Matt Ryan was in the game at the beginning, and you see that hurry up, that quick tempo offense. It pushes very well with a guy like a Matt Ryan. That's a little bit slower in his reasons. Arm strength isn't as good as it used to be. But I definitely do agree with you there on that take. Also it's like a little fact I seen. It was talking about third down completion, and I think Matt Ryan was the last quarterback to actually have a third down completion out of the last three. But Nick, I thought I seen that the during the
Yeah.
game
So
on
there
Monday
were.
night.
So speaking of that, I thought this was pretty interesting too, and I saw this tweet earlier. So the Colts this season they've had two performances now where they haven't converted a single third down
Hmm.
in the entire game. The rest of the NFL combined has two games like that. So the Colts alone have two games. The rest of the NFL combined only have two games. So that kind of shows you the ineptitude of the offense right now.
Yeah, man, this offense is just a bad look in general. But hey, Jeff Saturday, he knows what the Colts need for the future's sake. So I say keep going, Jeff. You're doing a great job, and let's look forward to that off season, man, for sure. Moving forward, the rushing game. The run game was just as poor as the passing game, but I think the run game had a few bright spots. With Moss back there, we seen Jordan Wilkins get one carry in. The former Colt that was gone for a little bit off the grid of signing for teams. He played for Tennessee for maybe 1 or 2 games. But the Colts with Jonathan Taylor being shut down, they brought him back. We didn't get a chance to go live after all of these things that happened. We got a lot to talk about. But let me get your thoughts about Jordan Wilkins getting put back on the roster. How did you feel about that?
Um, well, like with Jonathan Taylor being hurt, it wasn't really that odd because you have a guy that's like semi familiar with things. And I like Wilkins, he's a decent player, but what was odd to me was the 2 year contract. Um, that just didn't make sense to me unless, I don't know if there's like a out after this season. I haven't really looked at the contract really in depth, but it was just an odd signing, for multiple years as opposed to, just a deal for the end of the season. So I don't know if that means, whatever for Deion Jackson, who I was surprised didn't get more work last night.
Hmm.
He's a guy that's played really well, and for him to barely, get any of the workload, it was just kind of odd to me, especially in the passing down. But I think Moss, he played to his strength. That's what he's a bruiser. Like he's a guy that's going to run north and south. He's going to break tackles. He's going to, pick up 3 or 4 yards on every carry. But I don't know. Oh, there's Big Mike. But yeah, man, like I don't know what the issue was with Deion Jackson, and it's nice to see Jordan Wilkins back. Of course, I've always been a fan of his. I like Jordan Wilkins as a player, but just the length of the deal was just kind of odd for me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We got Mike joining the show. Mike, how you doing?
What's going on, man? How y'all doing?
Oh, we
Ah,
great,
well,
man. We're great. We're feeling great. Especially after that debacle we just seen against the Chargers on primetime again. The thing that Colts fans wanted more primetime games, and we got it. In the worst case scenario, you just can't have it all. So it is what it is. But we just got finished talking about the offense, and then we just got we're currently in the segment of talking about the run game, and he was sharing his thoughts about the whole Jordan Wilkins move. And he mentioned a funny thing when he was talking about the 2 year deal, and I would say if it was Marlon Mack, would you consider that deal being reasonable if it was somebody else instead of Jordan Wilkins? I'm gonna ask you, Landon.
uh, really no, because the whole thing is right now, like I don't know why you're signing guys to multiple year deals at the moment because I think we all anticipate that there's going to be turnover on this roster. How about them Texans? Hey, look, I hope
I
the
didn't even know they
Texans.
exist.
Yeah, yeah. I've got some buddies down in Houston. They're
Hey,
Texans
we'll be
fans.
rooting for the Texans week 18.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I'll probably be cheered for the Texans, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Uh,
Texas gang.
but
Well, Texans, not Texas.
well, you're Texas gang regardless. But
Hey,
Horns up, right, Mike? Go Texas.
Nah, don't even disrespect me. No, sir.
Oh,
No, sir. No, sir.
but now, like, I don't really see the purpose of signing anybody to multi-year deals, whether it's running backs, wide
Quarterback.
receivers. I mean, like, because we don't know who's going to be the GM of this roster here in 2 or 3 months from now. All we've heard is it's going to be Ballard. We keep hearing how Ballard's safe. They're going to bring him back. All that. I don't know. I don't personally think so, but it's just odd to see any multi-year deals for anybody right now, especially this at the end of this season. So, yeah, just it's odd for sure.
Let me get your thoughts, Mike, on the whole Jordan Wilkins move, and how do you think he can, I guess, production wise, moving forward. Let me just get your thoughts on the whole Jordan Wilkins scenario, signing him.
I mean, it's continuity, I guess you could say. I mean, he's familiar with whatever scheme is left from Frank Reich. He's familiar with the offensive line. He's familiar with everybody inside the building. So, I mean, I really don't have a problem with it. I'm with Landon. The 2-year was weird, but I mean, I think we all liked when Jordan Wilkins got some carries. He always flashed a little bit, had some solid runs, some solid games. And if he's coming in as running back 2 next year, I'm not going to be mad at it. I really wouldn't. I really would not be mad at it, assuming Bernhard Raimann continues the uptrend that he's been at left tackle. Quentin Nelson gets a little bit healthier and doesn't trip over Bernhard Raimann anymore. The center position gets figured out. Right guard play gets better. I got to imagine Jordan Wilkins is going to be a solid number 2 behind Jonathan Taylor. I think anybody behind this offensive line and behind Jonathan Taylor would be solid number 2. But not too much about Jordan Wilkins. I mean, we know who he is, know what kind of guy he is, what kind of player he is, and he can contribute on special teams. So not really too, I wouldn't say too surprised, but not really anything of it, not making anything of it.
Yeah. We definitely not too surprised, but we was catching up on a lot of things we missed due to the holidays and the scheduling and everything going on in our personal lives. So we're going to keep moving forward. We didn't get your thoughts as well, Mike. We're going to go to you again. How did you feel about the whole offense with Nick Foles? It's his first time starting at the quarterback for the Colts this season. How did you feel about the offense against the Chargers?
I felt about the offense the same way I felt about the offense in the other 15, 16 games. That's how I felt about them. They're pathetic. They can't push the ball downfield. No one can get open. There's truly no structure offensively, coaching-wise. There's truly nothing. I mean, yes, Scotty Montgomery is solid, but he just got here to the NFL. Reggie Wayne, as gifted of a Hall of Fame wide receiver he was, this is his first year in coaching. And Parks Frazier, this is his first time calling plays. So Jeff Saturday has delegated all of offensive responsibilities to those guys. And if you put all of those minds together, yes, they are NFL coaches. They have great resumes as players and all that stuff. But we don't know who Reggie Wayne is as an offensive coach. Like, if he was to be an offensive coordinator, what would his style be? What would his philosophy be? Scotty Montgomery, what would his philosophy be? Parks Frazier, we assume, being tutelage of Frank Reich, we assume that he would be a little bit on the same path as Frank Reich. So there's no structure, no direction, no leadership, not in terms of, well, maybe leadership was the wrong word. Just no structure. Let's just stick with that. No structure. I take the leadership comment back. Those guys are leaders. But I mean, there's really not much. Like we keep saying, there's not much else to say. The offense was pathetic. It was poor. They couldn't get a first down. It was just bad. It was just bad. I mean, regardless of who is in the game, who is taking snaps, turnovers are a guarantee. It doesn't matter who it is. 3 quarterbacks you've had, turnover, fumble, interception, turnover, fumble, bad throw, overthrow, misthrow, misfire, ball way too far behind, ball way too far in front. Whatever the case may be. Horrible.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a terrible scenario to be in as a Colts fan to watch this stuff. But hey, like I said, Jeff Saturday is doing a great job leading these men to this offseason because he knows what the Colts need for the future. So I think he's a great plug-in guy for what the Colts mindset is for the rest of this year. Especially, naming Nick Foles the starter for the rest of these last two games. Because hey, if anyone knows who has the best shot to giving us a higher pick, it's Nick Foles. So definitely gonna look forward to these last two games. Hopefully it ends as soon as possible because last game, Monday night, prime time, that was a very long game to watch, man. It felt like it was never going to end, but it finally ended, unfortunately. So moving forward, after talking about the offense, of course we got to mention the bright spot of this team. Even the special teams, I think, had a pretty decent outing at the beginning. But the defense, man, let down again. Of course, they got gassed, and then that's when they started pouring on the points. But we definitely seen Isaiah Rodgers Sr. get injured as well. But Landon, let me get your thoughts about the few bright spots about the Colts defense this game against the Chargers.
Well, I mean, you kind of, put it very, very bluntly is, they get let down once again. I mean, this is really the only unit on this team outside of, the special teams. They have some bright spots there with Bubba, but, the defense is they're playing their butt off, and they come ready just about every single game. And, they do their best until they're just, they do get gassed, man. Like it's hard to watch because you know what's coming at the end of the fourth quarter, or going into the fourth quarter, and it's a unit that has been on the field almost entirely the game. Like we said earlier, they didn't convert a single third down in that game. And the only points they scored came because of a Justin Herbert interception by the defense. So even the defense is that's the only way they can even get into position to score the football. So, yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate for them, and it sucks because those guys really are playing their butts off. And I think, they get some unwarranted hate because of the last few weeks, with the collapses and, all the points given up. But I mean, you can't ask your defense to be on the field, for 3/4 of the game. And it's, especially in the way this league is built. I mean, this is a league that is built for offenses to score points. And whenever your defense is just consistently, you know, the first half they play lights out, and even into the third quarter they play really good football. But they just get so tired at the end of it that it's hard to keep up with these offenses in football, and especially in the NFL. So it's unfortunate, but once again there were some great plays made in this game. Defensive line, I thought they struggled some, but DeForest Buckner had he's DeForest Buckner. I liked, some of the stuff I saw from Kwity Paye. Dio, once again, another sack in this game. He's really coming along. And that's so big for his development as well and for the future of this defensive line. Zaire, we know what kind of player he's been most of the season. And I mean, the secondary, Ronnie Thomas, I think he got himself an interception as well there. So, yeah, I mean, it just sucks to see how much work these guys put in, how much effort they give on a weekly basis. And, just for them to consistently get left out to dry every week. And then the points start to add up towards the end of these games. And then it gets blamed, well, how are the Colts supposed to win when the defense gives up, 30 something points, when the defense gives up this many points? It's like, look, man, like, I mean, they did their job. And at some point, you have to give these guys a chance to catch their breaths.
I agree 100%. Especially shout out to Rodney Thomas. And Gus Bradley gave his praise about DeForest, especially after the game, and how good of a veteran he is as a presence wise on the field as well. But we're gonna swing it down to Mike. Let us get your thoughts about your the Colts defense against the Chargers.
First of all, y'all aren't doing this right. It is Rodney Thomas the second. That's how you say it, not Rodney Thomas. No, Rodney Thomas the second from Yale University. All right, that's how we do it. 3 interceptions as a rookie. Okay, This defense can't get turnovers unless Shaquille Leonard's on the field. Rodney Thomas says, watch out. Let me do some work. Obviously, we're going to send off Zaire Franklin.
Who said watch out?
Huh?
Who said watch out?
Rodney said, watch out.
Yeah, you said Rodney Thomas said
Rodney Thomas the second.
Rodney Thomas the second said watch out.
Rodney Thomas the second said watch out, and I'll create. Watch out. No one needs Shaquille Leonard, even though we would love to have him back. No one needs Shaquille Leonard. We got Rodney Thomas the second. That's what happens. The guy continues to perform well, man. He continues to perform. He continues to be at the right spots at the right times. Obviously, as a rookie, I would love to see his timing get down a little bit more, maybe a little bit better angles. But other than that, right now, he's on track to get an A+ grade from me for his rookie year. I mean, the dude has been stellar. Zaire Franklin should be a Pro Bowler, in my opinion, but we know how that voting system goes. He's top 5 in the NFL in tackles. He's one of the better run stuffing linebackers in the league. You obviously saw what he can do in freaking pass protection yesterday. Pass breakup, assisting on the interception for Rodney Thomas II. And again, I just can't say enough good things about Zaire Franklin. I will say each and every week, he deserved to be a Pro Bowler this year. But because he doesn't have the flashy name, he's not on commercials, he's not doing Aflac or anything like that, no self-promotion, a lot of fans don't really know who he is. And hey, it's their loss, but we know who he is. Shout out to him. Dio Odangbo is really coming on, man. And this really, I consider this like really his rookie year, because last year, I mean, you didn't go through camp. You didn't even go through offseason OTAs. You didn't even do any of that. So came in last 8 games. They just said, okay, go out there and do something. This was his rookie year. And damn, he is coming along. You're starting to see that power. You're starting to see more athleticism out of him. That sack against Justin Herbert, I don't think that sack gets made last year. I don't think it does. But for Dio to be able to, we're starting to see it a little bit now. Thankfully, we are. Pass rush is starting to look a little bit better. Yannick Ngakoue, I mean, had an okay game. But the defense, time and time again, man, you see it. You see it when the game is close, when it's 0-0, when it's 3-0, they are fighting. They are doing what they need to do. But when slowly but surely, 10-0, all right, let's keep fighting. 13-0, we'll keep fighting. Offense will figure it out. 13-3, and then 20-3. Like Landon said, they had to set the offense up to not be shut out in the game. They were literally a Zaire Franklin pass breakup and a Rodney Thomas interception away from scoring 0 points for a second time this year. For a second time. That is horrible. And again, I'm not looking at Jeff Saturday for this. He's an ESPN analyst. So, I mean, my issue isn't with him. I hate that this defense is going to waste. I hate it. I hate it because this is the defense. This is the type of play Zaire Franklin has been waiting to play. He's been on special teams this whole time. With Matt Eberflus, he's been on special teams. Now Gus Bradley and Richard Smith come in. Now he's playing. Now he's going off. EJ Speed as well. How long has EJ Speed been waiting to get his name called? Got it called last year in the Arizona game, Christmas Day, when Shaquille Leonard was out. Played well there. Tracked down to Kyler Murray so many times there. And we finally get it. The best defense we've seen in Indianapolis in the last decade. And it's all for nothing. If it wasn't for this defense, we're probably a 0-15 team right now. If it wasn't for this defense, we are probably 0-15. That's how bad it is in Indianapolis. I hate it that this defense is going to waste. I just hate it. I still don't understand why Brandon Faison is playing over Isaiah Rodgers. Still don't understand that. If Ifeadi Odenigbo was let go, Brandon Faison should have been let go with him. Because, again, those are vets. Seasons lost. Don't really need them. Don't need to see anything from them. Dallas Flowers is playing a little bit. At least you're getting some youth there. But my heart goes out to these guys on defense, man. I can't blame them for anything this year. I can't.
Speaking of Ifeadi, after he got released from the Colts. Breaking news today, he got signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With his presence and what he can do with that defensive line that they already have, I think he can definitely be a game changer. And he's just another Colts player, in my opinion. But I'm gonna share my thoughts. He's just another Colts player that was in a bad situation and got put in a better situation personally. And I do think with a better defensive front and his presence, what he can do, it lays off a little pressure off of Tom Brady because Tom Brady is known for creating turnovers, even though this is a Buccaneers podcast. But I do think if Tom Brady, he's known for having those great defenses on those Super Bowl runs that he has. So I think added a fact to that team, to that Tampa team, I do think he can definitely boost that defense up a little bit. Before we move on about the game, Landon, let me know your thoughts about this move to him going to Tampa.
Well, I think it was. I mean, congratulations to him. You know, the Bucks, like, they have their own issues over there right now, so it was a little odd. I figured he would land somewhere like maybe Kansas City or Buffalo, since they lost Von Miller. But you know I think he's a really great rotational piece. He did a lot of good things here. I think 3.5 sacks is what he had here in his role. So anytime you can add a guy like that to the defensive line, it's never a bad thing. And it's just one more piece. We'll see. The first thing that every team focuses on is taking care of their division. And if Tampa Bay can just take care of that division and get into the playoffs, as we've seen many times, anything can happen in the playoffs. And especially when you have a guy like Tom Brady, back there, it's the ball seems to bounce his way more often than not. So yeah, it was a good move for him. I'm glad he's in a better situation, one that I imagine he put himself in. To be a little cryptic there, but it's it's good for him, and I think it's a good move for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, for sure, Mike.
How dare you be cryptic? If only the other 53 guys on the roster could do what he did.
There's a few of them that would like that very much this offseason. So
and it's probably coming here in the next month. Yeah, I was about to say, it's probably coming in the next month.
There's quite a few of them that would like to follow that path here shortly.
Yeah. So other than that, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you just mentioned how much you praised his defense, and we just mentioned him going Adafai going to the Bucks. Now it just raises the question: you're concerned about the defense and all this talent we have potentially losing it due to this terrible season and how the offseason may go for the Colts. Because as you can see from this previous offseason, a lot of players and names didn't get traction to come to Indy because of the situation, and they didn't know what the Colts' direction was because it took them to almost the end of the offseason to get a quarterback in Matt Ryan like they did the previous season before with Carson Wentz. But I'm going to ask you, Landon, how concerned are you about the defensive talent that has expiring contracts? How concerned are you about losing them?
Very concerned for sure. Even the ones that don't have expiring contracts, guys like Stephon Gilmore, guys like Kenny Moore, that could possibly, they have multiple years on their deal that they could be let go. DeForest Buckner, I'm very concerned about possibly, getting traded or something like that. And then on top of that, Okereke, he's a free agent. I doubt he wants to come back to this situation. And yeah, I mean, this Yannick Ngakoue is another guy. Like, who knows? We've heard multiple times he wants to make Indy his home, but with the way this season has gone, I mean, why would anybody want to make Indy their home right now? So, this could look like a very, very, very young and very different type of defense in the next, 6 months from now.
All right, Mike, let us get your thoughts about that.
I know I said it. I can't remember specifically when. I think it was like a few shows ago or a couple. It was regarding when we were talking about Shaquille Leonard. Keeping Shaquille Leonard could possibly lead to having Bobby Okereke go somewhere else because you have to put that money elsewhere. First off, that pisses me off because I don't want Bobby Okereke to go anywhere. EJ Speed probably played himself into a contract with another team, definitely earned it on special teams. He has put his name out there. He has performed well. he could be a guy that's on the move. Okereke, obviously. I fully expect Stephon Gilmore and Kenny Moore to be let go this offseason. I fully expect that. More so Stephon Gilmore than Kenny Moore, because he's like a Chris Ballard guy. So we got to see what happens with Chris Ballard if he resigns or if he's fired. Will determine what happens with Kenny Moore. Rodney McLeod, I mean, I'm pretty sure he don't want to come back to this. He'll probably go to Dallas where they need some safety depth, and then maybe Green Bay, whatever the case may be. Yannick, I'm not too keen on re-signing him for that type of pass rusher money. I don't know, man. I really can't fault anyone for wanting to be out of this situation. There's so much, and I didn't really realize how bad it is. There's so much going on behind closed doors that's not being put out, because technically it just can't be put out. But there's so much going on. No one is happy. No one likes each other. There's friction. There are arguments. There's just so much stuff that I wouldn't be surprised if you got a couple of trade requests, and probably from people who, dare I say, you shouldn't even be putting in a trade request. It's just gotten to the point to where everything is going downhill. It wouldn't surprise me who leaves or who is let go from this team this offseason. I want Bobby Okereke back. Probably won't have him back. I'd love to get EJ Speed. Something tells me that he might get a better contract elsewhere, because he has played very well, special teams and on defense. So it's unfortunate, man. But I would envision some things going on with, some veteran cuts. Probably Okereke walking. It pisses me off that probably has to be that way. But, if I can have a crystal ball in front of me and Shaquille Leonard is 100% healthy next year, and I have a Shaquille Leonard and Zaire Franklin pairing, then I could potentially be happy. But now all of our depth is leaving. So I don't blame anybody for wanting to be out of here. I'm even surprised people still have tickets to these games, by the way. I'm still surprised by that. But other than that, man, I don't want to see EJ Speed or Bobby Okereke walk. Those are the guys I want to keep the most, knowing that it probably won't happen.
Yeah, man, it definitely going to be a very insane offseason, but we're going to have, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing we're going to lose some talent, but it's a good thing for you guys because we're going to have content galore when all of these things happen. So you guys have to stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't, like as well, and comment your thoughts as well as we move forward. But moving on from people that did leave the Colts, we got to talk about another guy, our very own T.Y. Hilton, left us. We didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about it, but he left us and went to Dallas. And not only did he go to Dallas, he wound up catching a play that went viral, 3rd and 30, double covered. Well, supposed to be double covered, but right over Darius Slay. It landed right in his hands in the bread basket. It was a beautiful play, but it's a good thing for Ty. He's in a better locker room, a better situation, and he's in the playoffs. It's a good thing for him. I would love to see him thrive in that offense because he's definitely a veteran wide receiver that they needed. A lot of people thought they were going to go get Odell, but Jerry Jones, threw a crossover into the deal and got T.Y. Hilton instead because it came out that Odell's not even medically cleared this season and he's going to sit out. But, to go get T.Y., who was out there just waiting for his opportunity, is a beautiful thing to see, even though it's in Dallas and we all despise Dallas. But, it's a good thing for him. Mike, let me get your thoughts about this T.Y. Hilton move and watching him play his first game.
Yeah, so I was in San Antonio watching this game with my family. Saw Ty out there quite a bit, not really getting targeted because he just got there. But 3rd and 30, I thought they were just gonna go with those like simple running back screen, get a few yards, punt. But as soon as he went deep, T.Y. Hilton beating Darius Slay is nothing Colts fans haven't seen before. I mean, that's just what T.Y. Hilton's always done. He's always done. And I kind of caught myself cheering. Yes, I'll admit this. I caught myself cheering for the Cowboys in that moment, because I was really more happy for Ty that he's back in football, that he's enjoying it, that he's making game-changing plays. If that play is not made, Dallas probably loses that game. And because of that, he won the Cowboys that game. Some might say that. Some might say that was the biggest play of the game. And guess what? It was because of T.Y. Hilton. And not CeeDee Lamb, not Michael Gallup, not Dalton Schultz, not Tony Pollard, not T.Y. Hilton. So my family was looking at me just like, man, is that T.Y.? Is that the dude? Like, why the heck did y'all let him go? Boy, can we talk about that all day, but we got a game we're watching right now. Just happy for him, man. I'm happy. As much as it would pain me to see him win a Super Bowl elsewhere, it would hurt triple if he does it in Dallas. So other than that, man, I'm just happy for him. It felt good to see him playing football and looking happy.
Landon, let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, like Mike said, I'm extremely happy for Ty, and something that was really cool that came out today. Well, there's a couple things actually that were interesting, but one of them was on the CeeDee Lamb touchdown. There, he said that in practice they had ran that play, and that CeeDee Lamb had kind of went a little high or went a little lower in the route or something like that, and Ty actually coached him in practice. He said, "Hey, whenever you're hitting that route, slow down a little bit and go to high point that ball at a different angle." And CeeDee Lamb, he said that in the game, CeeDee Lamb listened to what Ty was telling him during the week and created that play and created that touchdown. So you can already see the impact he's having even on the young Dallas wide receivers. And he said like he wanted to do that the way that Reggie Wayne did that for him. He wanted to be that guy for CeeDee Lamb. And you already see, the coaching taking place in practice that he's able to bring and the leadership he's able to bring to that room, paying dividends already. And especially with a guy as talented as CD is. So it's reading that, it did kind of hurt me a little bit just because like, could the Colts use that in their wide receiver room right now with Alec Pierce and Paris Campbell and of course, Pittman and stuff? Like, yeah. Like I don't understand why, and he's somebody that still could help. Like, would we have utilized him? Would we have thrown 30 yards down the field to him? No. But at the same time, man, like his presence in that room and his presence during the week of coaching and it's something that's sorely missed. And I'm glad to see it already paying dividends, and he's helping. As much as I would love it to have been the Colts' young wide receivers, he's now helping the next generation of great wide receivers there, and with one of them being in Dallas. And I thought that was cool. And then another one, I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but he actually liked a post on Twitter. And it was talking about how the locker room is fractured from Chris Ballard and some of the other, stuff like that. So I thought that was very interesting as well. I don't know, if you want to, take it with a grain of salt, because it did talk about Ty. Maybe he was just liking it because his name was in it. But I mean, there was some interesting things in that post that were being said about a fractured locker room and the way that Ballard has kind of handled some of the situation. And he did like that post. So I found that interesting as well. But as far as for the game, it was a beautiful pass from Dak Prescott, of course, and for Ty to be able to just go up, and I mean he made an incredible catch, and it shows like he's still being able to he's still utilized in a way that he can impact a game in such a big way. And if you have the people that can get him the ball, then he's still T.Y. Hilton, and I'm so happy for him to have success. I've got his autographed jersey in my room. You've probably seen it on stream when I'm in my office, and it's it was bittersweet to see him in a different jersey. It really was, but it doesn't look right. It'll never look right. It's just so weird, but I'm so happy for him as an individual, as a person, as a player, and I will always root for his success. In every game.
Yeah, I definitely root for him as well, but he that number is definitely horrendous. Number 16 out of all numbers is just like. But yeah, these Ty is in a good situation, and the role he's playing right now is perfect for him. Not being used too much, but he's used at the right time, and he's the guy that's gonna go get it. You throwing the ball, I'm pretty sure he has a very high chance of catching it. But best of luck to Ty in the situation he's in. But any other things that we can take away from this Colts and Chargers game that we can think of, because I think we're all at the same mindset of we just want the season to be over. Nothing else really stood out to me, but in that game that I can really take away and use to give credit to, besides Jelani Woods' production on the offensive side. I think he was probably the only bright spot that I can think of. If you guys can think of anything, Mike, can you think of anything besides Jelani Woods' production that really stood out to you?
Probably not in the game. Before the game, we really need to stop putting a microphone in front of Jim Irsay. We really do. I'll just say that. Stop. Whoever it is, I'm not going to name names, but in the media department, public relations, stop approving these media interview requests. Stop. Stop. It's not helping anything. Other than that, I'm wiped out. This team is not good. I was just sitting on the couch last night watching the game. Like, it don't matter if it's Matt Ryan. It don't matter if it's Sam Ellinger. It don't matter if it's Nick Foles. The result is the exact same thing. No zip, no direction, holding on to the ball too long, getting sacked, and then making people think it's the offensive line. Nope, man. Just ready to see. Damn it, man. I want to see Matt Taylor at there at quarterback now because, I mean, how much worse can it really get? Really?
Matt Taylor.
Matt Taylor.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Hey, man, he was a college athlete.
Sure. So was Dan Orlovsky. But
Hey, man, who
Landon,
would win in a race? Matt Taylor, Nick Foles, or Matt Ryan?
probably Matt Ryan.
D, none of the above.
Nah, my money's
They,
on
I
Matt
saw a
Taylor.
post. I saw a post yesterday. It was funny. They said they should just start drawing raffle tickets, and it's like fan number or section 613, seat 17. Like they should just raffle tickets off for the next person to play a
To play
drive.
quarterback.
Yeah, just play quarterback for one drive.
You might strike
Did any
gold.
of y'all see like a good look of the attendance in the game last night?
It was good.
No.
It
Yeah,
was
it was
good.
good. It was a great crowd. By all accounts, it was a sold out crowd. I'm like 99% sure I saw that it was a sold out crowd. Which are a lot of them, Christmas gifts, people getting tickets for Christmas, all that kind of stuff. But
That's
yeah, man,
insulting.
it was a great crowd. They said the crowd really brought the energy early on, and then you know, obviously as the offense kept doing their thing, those boos got a little bit louder. There were some we want Sam chants that were going on in the stadium, and it was yeah, but yeah, the crowd turnout was good, and that's probably all. That's probably all Jim's looking at right now. Is he's like, hey, people are still showing up, so we're doing
Oh,
something
I,
good.
I completely forget. Like that game was the game everybody wanted to go to when the schedule was released. Like, oh, when are the Chargers coming to Indianapolis? Like a couple people I know, as soon as the schedule was released, went and got their tickets
Yeah,
immediately.
well, that
So,
and it's Monday Night Football as well, primetime game Monday
yep,
night in
yep.
Indy, and apparently they put on a the best. Somebody messaged me. They said the best thing about the game last night was the light show. They said before the game they put on a really good light show. So if that's your main takeaway from going to a football game, then you're probably not going to watch a good football team.
Yeah, that's
The-
kind of how it was when I went to when Sam Ellinger debuted against Washington. Like I already knew he was gonna lose, but it was just the atmosphere. Like the arena, you can just never get you'll never get tired of it. It's just a beautiful place to be in. It's a good place to watch. Every seat is a good seat to watch the game. But I mean that's pretty much what you're going for now at this point of the year when your team sucks. But the Indianapolis Lucas Oil Stadium is definitely still top 10 stadiums in the NFL, hands
Hey man,
down, in
what
my
about the
opinion.
Grover Burgers?
I've never had a Grover burger in my experiences going there, but
Wow.
I definitely do enjoy going to, the stadium in general is just a good place to be in, man, for sure. But this team
Hey,
production wise, you'll get
Yeah.
lost. You'll get
Yeah,
lost.
see, I was lucky enough to go to some games last year, and actually they were actually pretty decent, but I I didn't go to any games this year. I avoided this team. I've avoided going
Smart
up there
man.
like the plague right now. So yeah, I'm not wasting my money right now on the product they're putting out, and you know, having to cover the team and have to talk about the team and then do all that. Like, I see enough of this football team. I'm not going to pay to see more of them. So
I already pay NFL Sunday ticket to watch this team, like, and I'm overpaying. Like, come on now. Hey, I do have a question for y'all. Do y'all find it funny how, as the season is winding down, all of this stuff about Chris Ballard is starting to make its way public?
So you're saying there's another scapegoat?
I don't know. I'm not saying there's a scapegoat. I'm saying like I
Or
think
is it about
look
time?
look there. Well, it was funny too because I think Sean said something too. He's like, you know, there's a reason why he's been a hermit so far this year. So
Why he's been quiet?
but yeah, been really quiet, and that's not normal for him. Normally, he would have a quarterly press conference where he would discuss, you know, the team,
He
and he
would
has,
have like 3 or 4 of those, yeah.
In which I
yeah,
enjoyed, by the way.
yeah,
Yes.
I loved him for sure. It's very rare to have a GM as open as he is, and this season he has not been at all. And you saw him at the Saturday press conference, and he looked like a guy that did not want to be within 100 yards of that press conference, and so now I think you're starting to see some stuff pop out. I mean, could it possibly be coming from his camp? You know, in an effort to try to make his way out. We don't. I mean, I
I
don't know. I'm not confirming or denying or saying I know anything like that because I don't. So don't take that to the bank. But I'm just saying, like, you know, logically thinking about it, you know, because Ursay's been very adamant about, you know, we're keeping Chris, we're keeping Chris, we're keeping Chris. I don't think Chris wants to be kept, and if he resigns, he's leaving a lot of money on the table. He just signed that
Yep.
extension this offseason.
He's
And
not
so
getting fired. If he resigns, he is leaving money.
yeah, he's leaving money on the table, and he just signed that extension this offseason. So, yeah, if he can find a way to possibly get himself kicked out the door, then he can make a paycheck and good on him. But
This is
no, go ahead, man.
this is my thing. So I'm starting to develop the opinion, and it's an opinion, that Chris Ballard is going to resign in the next 2 weeks. That's just my hunch. As soon as the season wraps, he's gonna do it the right way. I think he'll do it the right way. He'll say what he needs to say to the players. Thank the Irsay family. Thank his daughters for all their hospitality, their professionalism, and supporting him and his family. I think he's gonna do all of that, and then he's gonna resign. I kind of side with Chris Ballard. My heart goes out to him because, I mean, this just it's not ideal. It's not ideal, and I do not want to see what happens if Chris Ballard, who is one of the most respected executives in the NFL, if he willingly resigns from Indianapolis. Who knows what he's telling NFL circles? Who knows what he's telling NFL circles? And then those NFL circles get back to coaching candidates that we would want. And those coaching candidates are in those NFL circles. So if you don't have, right now in the season, you have no direction of where you have no direction. Yes, the only little small speck of light at the end of the tunnel is you have a top 5 pick, right? That's the only light. But then you have no direction of where your roster is going. You have money thrown all over the place that you need to reevaluate where you're investing it into. No head coach, no offensive coordinator. I never saw the term until last night for Parks Frazier, interim offensive coordinator. I've never seen that in my life. And then no general manager. So if Chris Ballard leaves, Ed Dodds is leaving with him. Morocco Brown is leaving with him because I think they have loyalty to Chris Ballard and not Jim Irsay. The Colts are potentially in a bad situation, about to get a whole lot worse. It's about to get a whole lot worse. It's been well documented by now. Chris Ballard has been overruled. He has been disrespected. He has been just manipulated. He if you go about the biggest decisions that have been made for this franchise in the last few years, just think about the last few years. Landon, you know this. Those are the decisions a GM dreams of. I want to make that decision. What quarterback are we getting next? I want to make that decision. You dream of that. You think about that as you're sitting there scouting. If you're just as a scout on a scouting staff, you think of the day, man, I want to be a GM one day and I want to make that decision. And then that day comes. Hey, I like Justin Fields, man. Oh, I want to go get him. Chris, I know you, or Frank, I know you love Carson, but I really think we got to go young. We got to go in the draft. Jim Irsay comes, whoa. I'm going to go with Frank on this one. Let's go get Carson. But Mr. Irsay, like, I really like Justin Fields. Chris, let's go get Carson. All right, Morocco. Just go ahead and scrap all the rookie quarterback stuff. Go ahead and, delegate all your scouts to other pro days. We don't need to go to Ohio State anymore. How do you think that makes Chris Ballard feel?
Well, even going back to the coaching, like we obviously know the Josh McDaniels thing, and that's a black mark, and it is what it is. But there were two candidates that were the finalists for that job. One being Josh McDaniels, who did end up getting the job, and then of course reneged and all that stuff. But the other one was Mike Vrabel, and it was down to those two. And once Josh McDaniels reneged on his deal, Mike Vrabel was sitting there, and Jim Irsay is the one that made the call to go for Frank. So Chris, outside of hiring Josh McDaniels, which is bad, by the way, I don't want to gloss over the fact that he wanted to hire Josh McDaniels. That was his guy that was winning. But, once that decision fell through, he didn't even get to hire his own head coach. And as much as he likes Frank and respects Frank and all that, he wasn't familiar with Frank at all. And Jim was the one, Frank's been a quarterback coach here with Peyton, from years, and, just going back to the glory days of when the Colts were good, he's like, well, let's give Frank a call. And Frank was coming off the Super Bowl. And the decision to hire Frank was not a Chris Ballard call. It was a Jim Irsay call. And the two candidates that Chris had were one Josh McDaniels, but the other one was Mike Vrabel. So, that's, even outside of the quarterback, it's the guy that he hasn't gotten to hire his head coach. He hasn't gotten to pick his quarterback. And those are the two foundational pieces for a franchise. And whenever you're consistently overruled by ownership like that, who meddles in decisions like that, it does leave a black mark on your organization. And we're starting to see more and more decisions being made, even going down to, this year, where it's like, hey, we're not, bench this guy, we're playing this guy. Those are coaching, not even general manager decisions. Those are coaching decisions that should be made, that Jim Irsay has had his hand in. And then whenever the guy is getting benched, or, because Frank never wanted to bench Matt Ryan at all. And whenever that guy's benched, and then you're bringing in a guy that has zero experience starting, going up against Bill Belichick's defense, and whenever you don't perform, you fire that coach that you just made the decision for. I mean, hey.
Not to mention that you were on the phone in the middle of the game with his replacement.
Yeah. And that interview that came out yesterday, when he said, if Jeff hadn't accepted the deal, would Frank still be here? And he said, at least, he wouldn't have been let go that week. So you're already hiring another coach that, for one, has never coached before, and it shows. And before you've even let go of the guy coaching the game for you right now. And then to fire him over a phone call, to not even have, the audacity to, drop what you're doing and meet with him in person. Cause, apparently there was some scheduling conflicts and he couldn't meet with Frank in person. But I mean, it's a bad look, and it's a bad look for this franchise. And it's been it's been talked about and documented consistently. And like Mike said, every time there's an interview that comes out, it gets worse and worse every time. So it's tough to listen to, and people don't want to listen to it, and they don't want to think that this stuff is going on, but it is. And it's being talked about in NFL circles. It's being talked about between executives and head coaches. And at the end of the day, there's only 32 of these spots available in the entire world. Somebody's going to want the job regardless. It's just the nature of the business. But having your choice of the cream of the crop that have the option to say, no thanks, I'll wait next year for a job to open up, it sucks. And until he learns to kind of take a step back with some of these decisions and his involvement. And that's a great thing about if you're an owner, though. You don't have to answer anybody. You can do whatever you want to do. You can run your team however you want to run it, and nobody can say anything about it. People can say stuff about it, but nobody can make you do anything. So, he's going to run the franchise the way he has, and I like Jim. I really do. I think the world of Jim Irsay as a person and what he does for the city and what he does. I mean, I really do love Jim Irsay, but the way that he has ran his football team over the last 12 months, and even some of the decisions that have been made in previous years, it just makes it really hard to convince top tier candidates to come into a situation like that.
Chris Ballard today is not the Chris Ballard that was entering his second year when Frank Reich was hired. They're two different guys. Chris Ballard was in his second year. He was trying to be professional. And remember, when Frank Reich was hired, Chris Ballard made it seem like it was his decision. I hired Frank because he was the only guy that didn't ask about Andrew Luck, about his injury situation, what he was looking like. He made it sound like that. And maybe that would be factual, but it still made it sound like it was his decision. Even dating back all the way there, Jim Irsay continues to get in. Like Landon said, look, you're the owner. You can do whatever you want, but don't sit there and act clueless when you're getting the backlash that you do, when the NFL doesn't give you the prime times that you beg for. They gave you the prime times you've been begging for 5 years, and you made an utter embarrassment of yourself. The embarrassment was highlighted on national television after you sent countless emails to Roger Goodell. You met with him countless times, added them on Twitter countless times. And what was the result? You're 0-3 in primetime games. Embarrassing fashion, might I add. It's not good. It's not good. You beat Denver on Thursday Night Football. That's not a highlight. It's not. And then to come on.
That was one of the worst football games that's ever been.
One of the absolute worst.
One of the worst football games of all time.
The fact that I literally, anyone's fandom if they watched every second of that game. And damn it, I don't want anyone to ever question my fandom for this team. I sat there and watched that game second for second. Landon, you did as well. Marcus, you did as well.
Oh, I have a film review on that game.
Yes, and there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of you out there that watched that game second for second. Yes, we love this team. I'm not going to go as far as to say I love Jim Irsay. I'm not going to say that, but he can do whatever he wants. But that doesn't make him obliged to criticism. I mean, what was his tweet earlier today, Marcus? Oh, we've had a rough day, but you know what? I'm going to send a few of you guys to New York with some tickets to the Colts-Giants game. Man, screw the tickets. Just give me a trip to New York. You can at least do that much for me. Give me a free vacation. Give me a free vacation. I don't want nothing to do with this team. Don't send me to the game. Just send me to New York. Marcus, I sent you that earlier, man. I was tempting. It was tempting, but went ahead and deleted it, but it's just not a good look, man. And the fact that all of this is coming out just leads me to believe that Chris Ballard is out the door. I firmly believe that he is out the door. Jim Irsay is saying what he needs to say in the media. Yeah, we're going to retain Chris. We believe in him. No, you don't. You don't believe in him. If you believed in him, you would let him do his job. What is the GM's job, Landon? Is he not in charge of player personnel decisions?
Well, it's a long list of jobs a GM
Yes.
has.
Long list.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the main things, for most GMs, some GMs, the coach has player personnel control, but as far as Chris Ballard goes, yes, he is supposed to have personnel control over the roster.
Yes, and he's supposed to obviously conversate with the coach on what they want to do.
Yeah, and the coaching decisions, by the way, because once again, Jeff Saturday was not a Chris Ballard hire. So,
nope, not at all. And I just can't help but think, man, how does Chris Ballard feel? Like, you keep on comparing me to Michael Jordan, yet I'm stuck in the corner like Steve Kerr. Like, you want to be made to be looked at like Michael Jordan. And I just don't think Chris Ballard wants to be here anymore. He can't even make altering decisions that every GM dreams of doing. I want to hire my head coach. I want to pick my quarterback. And those are the two biggest things a GM wants to do. And guess what? He hasn't even been able to do that. He wanted a certain guy. Jim Irsay said, no, let's get that guy as our head coach. All right, okay. Oh, I want this quarterback coming out of Ohio State. Huh? You want Carson Wentz? Okay, screw me, I guess. All right, let's just rip up all my plans. Okay, you're in charge here. You know what? All of this would be good if Jim Irsay just came out and said, look, I'm the general manager now. I'm the general. Be Jerry Jones, right? Where owner, VP of operations, and general manager. If you do those things, then you know what? I'm all good. I'm good. But you're the owner. You hire the GM to do GM duties. If I hire a janitor to clean up the facility, I'm also not going to hire him and ask him, oh, wait, when you're done with that, can you teach aerobics class over there? You hired me to clean, not teach aerobics. I know nothing about aerobics. It's not there. The decision, and I keep going back to that decision. Like, I can't help but think, how did that decision go down? How did that conversation go down when Frank Reich said, I want Carson Wentz, and Chris Ballard said, I want Justin Fields? How did that conversation go down? See, if, I guess, okay, I'll say I'm the owner. If I was the owner, I would have just simply said this. You guys need to find an answer. You're in charge. Frank, you're the head coach. Chris, you're the GM. Ultimately, you have say. So figure it out. That's what I would have done. I hired you to make those decisions because I don't know football. I hired you to make those decisions. And when somebody who doesn't know football starts making those decisions for you, you end up like the 2022 Indianapolis Colts. That's just how it is. So I don't know where the Colts go from here. There's still a lot to be done, in my opinion. There's still a lot to go down in the next 2 weeks or so, really, after the regular season. I'm intrigued to see how it goes down. What happens? Is Chris going to resign? Is he going to walk away from a boatload of money? And it would be tough because, I mean, it's well documented. His kids have grown up in Indianapolis. They've gone through middle school. I mean, his son is a quarterback in high school in the Indianapolis area. So I feel for him, man. And again, this team, they're just not, there's no life pulse. And again, the defense, my heart goes out to him, man. My heart goes out to y'all. Okay. My heart goes out to y'all. Marcus, Landon, I pray for y'all sometimes. All right. I pray for y'all at night before I go to bed. I say, you know what? When they go on Twitter, just please let them be graceful. Let them have peace. Let them be happy before they open that Bird app. And then after that, I don't know. Do with them what you do, God. But I'm at a loss for words just like you guys are. I'm not sure what more we can talk about. I know, again, another Jim Irsay interview happened, which means there's going to be all kinds of headlines. It just, the way he keeps talking makes it seem like he's going to hire the coach. So again, what is Chris Ballard here for? What is his job here? That's my question, but that will be answered at a later time. I'm not sure exactly what we want to discuss next. If there's any comments or questions that we want to get to, I was just sounding off on my opinion because I'm in Twitter jail.
Yeah, Free Mike definitely still on the verge of going viral. He's
Hashtag
still locked up
free
in
Mike.
Twitter jail. Yes, hashtag Free Mike. But yes, if you guys have any questions now, we are at the end of our stream. Feel free to let us know now. We've been here for an hour. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already as well. We appreciate all the love. The first question is, does Saturday hate Sam? What do you guys think?
Landing
I know what
go
the
first.
answer is, but go ahead, Landon.
No, I mean I don't think he hates him. I think for whatever reason he thinks Nick Foles possibly gives him a better chance just because he does have some experience. And whether we like it or not, Jim Irsay is, or Jeff Saturday is still auditioning for this job, you know, for this offseason to be hired. So he's going to go with the guys that have experience that give him the best shot of winning a football game. And right now, you know, Sam Ehlinger's played 2 games. One of them was okay. One of them was not okay. But Nick Foles is a Super Bowl MVP. Matt Ryan has been to a Super Bowl. You know, they have experience. So that's probably why Jeff is going with them, because Jeff has no experience. So, yeah, that would be my answer.
Yes, best chance at winning a football game. I see what you did there. Yes,
Quotes,
yes.
yeah.
Nick Foles definitely, yes, definitely has a chance of winning a football game. Right.
Yeah, that's another thing people don't necessarily understand yet, that Jeff Saturday is still, I think he's serious about coaching.
Oh, yeah.
So he's still trying to make things go. That way he can put together the best resume when he goes to the interview table. And really, he doesn't even have to put the coaching. He just has to say, "Hey, Jim, remember the beer we had last week?" That's it.
Well, look,
I wouldn't
I
be
said
surprised if Gary Brackett is the new head coach, man. God dang.
yeah, I said give them a chance at winning. I didn't say it was a good chance, but they do have a chance for sure.
Yeah, because Irsay can remember why he hired Jeff Saturday, because of that one time in the Super Bowl when he said that there was going to be an open run, and they went with Saturday's idea, and it just showed that, hey, this guy knows football. So you know what? We're going to give him the head coaching job. So definitely see that happening. Looks like there's another question. Should the new coach bring in his preferred offensive coordinator, or will it be the GM that will do, or will it be Irsay? We do not have that answer yet, because we don't even know what the future holds for the Colts. We don't know who's going to be in office, who's not going to be in office. We don't know who the quarterback is going to be. We don't even know if they're going to draft a quarterback at this point. They can tell us one thing, and then it could be another thing tomorrow. So I think we just have to wait and see what happens, because anything's possible with this team.
Yeah, normally the coach will make the decision on his coordinators and his staff. The GM hires the coach, but the coach makes the decision on who he wants to bring in. But the way this team has gone over the last year, Jim Irsay will probably be making that decision as well. So,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised
if he goes out and getting. We'll probably bring Rick Venturi in as the DC.
Knowing Irsay, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and get Jimmy G and just goes to another carousel. I wouldn't be surprised. He'll probably spend the draft pick on like an edge rusher or something.
Hey, Melvin Jackson, cornerback coach.
Hey, definitely can see all that happening. Bob Sanders just comes out of nowhere and becomes a strong safety coach. Who knows?
Definitely. I mean, when it comes to offensive coordinator, first off, I want to know who the head coach is, and then I want to see who the offensive coordinator is. So Landon, throw me a head coach out there, just a random one, just a random one.
Jim Harbaugh.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew you
All
was
right,
gonna
so
say
his
that.
offensive coordinator is going to be David Shaw. All right, so that's going to be that. No, maybe it could be Pep Hamilton. I think it'll be Pep Hamilton.
I mean, it could be because Lovey Smith might not be back. After this
Yeah,
year, Pep Hamilton's actually done a really good job down there. So,
really good job. Yes.
and he would be. I would feel so much better about drafting a young quarterback with Jim Harbaugh and Pep Hamilton as as the two coaches. Like that would be like dream scenario for me.
Damn,
Yeah,
but would Pep Hamilton want to come back though?
I think he would under Har. I think if
If it
Harbaugh
would
had,
be under Harbaugh, and of course, if Harbaugh had really, uh,
I got it for
if
Christmas.
Harbaugh had a little bit more say on the decisions made, then I definitely think Pep Hamilton will be here. So yeah, I would say Pep Hamilton would come with
Yeah,
Jim Harbaugh.
I'm not mad at that Harbaugh decision either because as you can see, as most teams, as young teams, like they have college oriented type coaches, and it looks fun. It looks like it's more like varieties that you can do with scheme wise on offenses. You can look at the Bears for an example. Justin Fields with the option plays and the RPOs. I mean, they're not a successful team, but there's a light shining and opportunity of what you can do if you get like a college coach as like a Harbaugh, and you get a college QB out the draft. I definitely think the offense can go to new heights and what we're seeing this year. I definitely think it'll be a bigger difference. But for sure, definitely think. Looks like there's not any more questions coming in. Before we get out, Mike, what was the coach you would want? You asked Landon about his.
Oh, I just said throw me a random name out there. Okay, so my coach, just throw one up. D'Amico Ryans.
Okay. I don't know if D'Amico will be willing to take the situation at hand in Indiana right now, so I don't know how that may go. I don't know what any coach would be willing to do something like that. But that's a huge
Uh,
risk coming into Indy, man. Huge risk.
yeah, if you want a high profile guy, the only guy I see coming would be Jim Harbaugh. Everybody would either look at potentially Houston, Carolina, Denver, and if those jobs get taken up, then the rest will just be like, see you next cycle.
What about Bieniemy? Yeah, I think we all fell off that bandwagon unless y'all still on it.
Nah.
No. Yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. We've been here for an hour and 15 almost talking Colts. Debacle, I would say. That's the word to use. But, we'll be
Debacle.
back. Yeah, I just thought of that on the fly. But we'll be back for sure with a preview and back on our normally scheduled program because the holidays is over. So we'll definitely be tuning in with you guys when more news breaks. Hopefully we'll get some type of interview or something from Thursday or Saturday and we'll have something posted. But you guys stay tuned for that. Follow us on all platforms. We especially on TikTok if you guys want to laugh and be entertained. We have shorts for that as well. But appreciate you guys for all tuning in. It's Mike, this Landon, it's me, Culture Shock, and we are out.